Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to Let's Play .hack.gu Volume 3 Postgame. On today's episode, I believe we're going to start the Forest of Pain properly now. We got a little bit of a tease of it in the last episode when I was trying to see how far we could get Tabby through, but we did do a little bit of leveling up between videos. Haseo is now level 138. I'm just showing off stats in case anybody's curious. Alkaid's at level 134. Lovely cleavage as always. I got Charm on her. I got an item that increased her HP by 50%. And Shino's level 135, and I swear her artwork, just the way her, nighty... I saw someone refer to, Adelaide and Shino's outfit as a nighty, and I never really thought of that before. I always just thought it was just, I don't know, something delicate, but, not a nighty, but... I don't know, ever since then, and then, Shino's artwork there, it's very, very difficult not to think about it like a nighty. So, there we go. Pervy stuff right off the bat. Another great addition to this totally amazing .hack.gu Let's Play. But, now that we're a little better with levels, we can start the Forest of Pain properly. So the first bonus thing is to do a 25-hit combo. Shouldn't be anything hard at all. Now, it's 100 floors. The good news is each floor isn't nearly as big as something you'd encounter in the main game. They're usually pretty straightforward, and they kind of repeat the same patterns over and over again, too. Like this first floor, for instance, this floor is just a straight line in particular. But all of the other floors are in more or less an H pattern, where you start at one of the corners of the H, and then you'll have to just kind of make your way down the center to another opposite end corner. I know during the main game I wasn't really that big of a fan of using Fairy's Orbs because I kind of wanted to, and that was kind of really stupid in hindsight. I don't know, playing the game by myself, I would have enjoyed the, I don't know, I guess the exploring factor of not having the map completed for me each and every time, but since this is a 100 floor dungeon, I will be using Fairy's Orbs for these. Not that you'll see any of that, because we're just going to be showing off battles. I wanted to start this one off a little easily by showing Alkaid and Shino. And I mean, we've seen Shino a little bit in the last episode, and we've definitely seen Alkaid before. But, here's how it's gonna work. I'm not showing off the entire Forest of Pain. What are you, crazy? Why on earth would I show off 100 floors of this? I will be showing off, doing what I did for the main Volume 3 game, where I'm just kind of, showing off new enemies, and that's about it. Although I'll repeat some, because the main thing I wanted to do for the Forest of Pain with this, and kind of why I think the Forest of Pain exists, is so you have a chance to, try playing with new characters. So, I'll be showing off all the new people we just recruited, as well as some others that joined pretty late that we didn't really get a good look at, so, Yada, Zelkova, and Kaede specifically. Just so we can see what they're like, because, even though GU kind of, overdoes it with its characters, one of the things I do like about the .hack series is that there's a large cast of characters you can have in your party. I mean, it's not like in Final Fantasy or anything, where each one is gonna, seem like a unique experience, but... I don't know who's interested in seeing them. I mean, I definitely was interested when I first played the game. Fans of GU looking up videos about GU might, want to relive some memories without playing the games themselves, or, people that have never played GU and just was curious because they heard, hey, you can get, say, Kite and Orca and Balmont in your party, or their Azure Knight forms anyway, and they wanted to see what they look like. Unfortunately, because of the way the battle system works, it is a little hard to, see some characters fight, because, the camera's mostly focused on Haseo, and you're just mostly seeing other characters in the background. So I don't really know how well this is going to work out for these videos that are just kind of, showing off the new characters. But, I figured, hey, I did say you can go ahead and skip these if you're not interested, because, like I said, there's I'll label the part that's like the epilogue part for those that are interested in whatever story part of this exists. And this can just be for anybody that's just kind of curious. In the meantime, for these areas that we are just kind of doing battles and showing off other characters, I mean, we can talk about some other things too. One thing I do want to talk about, actually, before I completely forget about it, I did go ahead and watch the GU Terminal Disc. And since the story is completed, I feel like there's, like, nothing I can really spoil otherwise. And, you know, I don't even know why I was so concerned, because there's nothing really to spoil to start with on the Terminal Disc, like I thought there may have been. For those that don't know, the Terminal Disc is this, special edition disc that came with, well, the special edition of Volume 1. The special edition of Volume 1 came with a figure of Haseo and, the Terminal Disc. It wasn't like a DVD or anything, it was actually a PS2 disc, and that had its own memory on the memory card, and was kind of interesting and convoluted at the same time. It checked for your, Volume 1, 2, and 3 data before unlocking different parts of the Terminal Disc, and the Terminal Disc was basically a series of files by Pi's older brother that kind of recounted some behind-the-scenes things about the world of GU that kind of makes the some of the story stuff put into, like, a new light. I wouldn't say a better light, but yeah, well, anyway, so the first 4 files just kind of recap the original series. They were all about, like, 20 minutes long, I'd say, something around there, and the rest of the files, the remaining 8 files, they were all just, the rest of the files were, like, like 10 minutes or less, honestly. Yeah, I thought I had, like, hours of stuff to watch, but, like, I don't know, I wouldn't even say the entire thing took more than 2 hours to watch. Maybe, like, an hour and a half. But yeah, it was just talking about, like, the events leading up to the world, like, Aura had disappeared from the original version of the world, R1, what they call in this game, and so CC Corp wanted to bring her back, and they wanted to do that by using the power of the phases, because I don't know why they thought that would be able to do anything. So they, like, I don't know, they, like, scoured the sea of data and, like, picked up the Organofactors that were made up of the phases, and they attached them to PCs, but you normal people couldn't use the PCs because they said they were, like, nauseous and stuff like that when they used them, so, like, only chosen ones could... I fucking hate how they said that, but only chosen ones can, like, do it, so that's all there. But that, like, brings up another point that I was, like, bringing up, like, way back in Volume 1, where it's, like, I didn't really understand if, like, these characters existed or not, or if people just, like, happened to create a character with, like, the right attributes or whatever. Because, like, at the beginning of the series, you see Haseo create his character, but according to this Terminal Disc, they're saying Haseo's character already existed. I don't know, it's kind of... I don't know. Dot Hack never has done a great job about elaborating on some of these things. You know, Dot Hack's reasons for things are always like, oh, okay. Wait, what? That kind of a reaction? That's probably why I don't, like, remember facts from the series as well as I'd like to. I remember more, like, different events that happen. But, yeah, I don't know. It was interesting to watch it, I guess, but it's not something I'd go out of your way for. Although, if you're ever gonna get the HD collection for PS4, I hear that comes with the Terminal Disc. Like, the thing is, though, like, all the stuff that was in the Terminal Disc, I felt like could have been put in the game, too. And this is just where, like, another problem I have with GU is, like, I mean, Dot Hack's always kind of spread its lore and mythos across various stories and mediums and stuff like that. But GU... See, in the original generation, like, each thing was its own thing, you know? Dot Hack Sign was its own story. The games were their own stories. The manga was its own story. The novels were their own stories, you know? There wasn't, like... I feel like they were all kind of self-contained, and, like, any useful information you'd get as a whole would be, you know, helpful in understanding the series, but, like, not, like, necessary. But with GU, I kind of feel like since it all involves the same story, you know, you're just getting pieces of the same story, if that makes any sense. And that's where it kind of, like, bugs me. Because, like, GU's, like, all about Haseo and everything like that, and I don't know. I hate how they, like, split it up, because it's like I mentioned before, I consider Roots and the games, like, the core of the GU generation. And I don't know, all of these other smaller things, like the GU Plus manga and the Terminal Disc and the GU Trilogy movie and stuff like that, anything that could have, like, has information about stuff that should have been in the games in the first place, it just really rubs me the wrong way. But anyway, enough about the Terminal Disc. So, we got a lot of virus cores in that area. We maxed them out to 99, so I'm gonna come back and do some of these lost weapons. Now these, when you get the lost weapons up to a certain point, the last thing you need to do to, like, fully unlock their potential is defeat one of these, things again. These Guardians, and they're the same exact ones from Volume 2, and since I showed them all in Volume 2, I don't feel like there's, like, a strong need to show them off again. In fact, I really probably should have, because I wanted to show one just in case, like, you know, it's been a while since you've seen the other one, or maybe you're just, like, coming in for the first time with this video or something like that, and you'll see what this is all about here. But, I mean, they're all basically variations of the same character model, and it has the same strategy to it, too. Like, some might use magic better, or heal themselves more, or something like that, but it's all, like, basically the same. But since, it's the recommended level for fighting them was like 135, I think, just like the Forest of Pain. So since we're kind of above that, they're gonna go down, you know, more and more easily as these post-game videos go on. But I show this one, and then I forget if I cut the other. I don't think I cut the others out, but I think I sped them up just because it's like we don't need to see this battle like over and over again, you know. But yeah, I can't believe how much I've reviewed and caught myself up with the GU generation for this Let's Play. Like, if I was just replaying the game, I probably wouldn't have watched Roots or read the manga or watched the Terminal Disc again, but since I was doing the Let's Play for it, I figured, you know, it could give some... I thought it would be worth talking about. In case anybody else is curious about everything about the GU generation. I mean, I'm not like 100% about everything. I didn't experience all of it. Like, I've never seen the GU Trilogy movie. The GU Trilogy came out, like, very late in my interest in anime. Like, right before my interest in anime, like, just went away. And, you know, it was around that time, too, where they stopped releasing English dubs on DVD. And they were just releasing, you know, with Japanese audio only. You know, I know most anime fans do tend to prefer the Japanese audio, but I mean, I enjoy the English audio for the most part. You know, I don't know, I'm not like the kind of guy that, like, wants to, like, read subtitles through the entirety of something. I mean, if it's, like, a foreign movie, like, maybe, but, like, I don't know, in terms of anime, it's like, I've always watched them in English, and that's just kind of, like, the way I do things, so... You know, when all these other shows were starting to come out, like, in Japanese audio only, that's, I don't know, that definitely didn't help, like, me wanting to, oh wow, because we're 75% of damage is HP and 35% is SP. Yeah, so when you fully awake these, lost weapons, their effects will be boosted as well. And we'll see what each of those are, but anyway, back to what I was saying, yeah, so that was definitely not something that helped me, that didn't help with my loss of interest in anime. I remember specifically, like one of the manga series I really liked, And I kind of hesitate to use the word really liked, because it's not something I, like, remember as well as other shows. But it is something I did end up liking a lot more than I thought, was this manga series called iShield 21. And that was a sports anime about a high school football team. And I don't know, I just really liked it. And I remember seeing in Suncoast one day the, like, the first volume coming out in America, and I was, like, pretty excited, and, you know, my friend was, like, telling me, make sure it's in English first, because a lot of shows aren't coming out in English. And I did, and it was in Japanese only, and that kind of, like, was, like, disappointing for me. So, I myself didn't have too many problems with that. I remember getting, Galaxy Angel, a couple of different Galaxy Angel series, because I forget how that worked, if they were, like, different seasons or different, like, you know, shows, like Tenchi Muyo and Tenchi in the Universe and stuff like that. But I remember one of them had, like, the first 5 episodes in English, and then the rest of it was in Japanese. That was weird. It's kind of like, why did you only do the first 5 in English? But I don't know. I just like watching stuff in English. I don't think English voice acting is nearly as bad as people say it is. I do think it's, you know, there are definitely a lot of, like, annoying parts to anime voice acting, but I don't really shock. Oh, so Adelie says absorbs 50% of damage to your SP and prevents spells from being interrupted by non-arts attacks, which is really cool, because then we can take that ability off of her armor and fill it up with something else then. But, yeah, I don't think the voices in anime are usually bad. I think it's how they have to deliver them that, like, sucks. Because there's so many times in anime where they just have to, like, go from, like, being a serious scene to, like, a super fast-talking joke kind of scene, and it just sounds so unnatural, and it's like, I don't know. It's like, of course it's gonna sound weird and awkward when something like that happens, and so much of anime dialogue is also just, like, screaming, too. Like, yeah! Or stuff like that, or, I don't know. There's a lot of dialogue in anime that just doesn't sound, like, natural. So for, like, the shows when it does sound natural, like in a show like Cowboy Bebop, or, like, a Gundam show, when there is actual conversations happening for, like, much of the plot, it's like, then I think you could see, like, anime voice acting in English being really good, but I don't know, that's just my opinion. Like, the most of the annoying stuff in GU, for example, is when they have to elongate, like, words for whatever reason. Like when Haseo's like, I'm right here, Skeeth! Or when Saku is, like, mad at Haseo, she's like, Haseo! I don't know, it's just like, it's weird to do in English, I feel like. I mean, that being said, you know, I mean, not all English voices are pleasant to listen to. Like, Saku's is super annoying. You know, as much as I love Alkaid, if someone told me they found Alkaid's voice really annoying, I couldn't argue against it. That makes sense. I'm sorry, Alkaid, but I don't know. There's just some parts where it sounds, like, really weird with her. But I don't know. I just, in my personal experience, I found anime fans just, like, being like English voices suck. It either just seems like an excuse not to buy the English dubs, or it just sounds like something they're parroting from somebody that they heard from before. I don't know. Like, I think English voice acting had come a long way. Like, you'll see things like Speed Racer and compare it to, like, stuff that, like, comes out now. And I mean, like, good shows that come out now, not, like, you know, anime bullshit that comes out, like the millionth harem show about, like, huge tits just, like, bouncing off all over the place. I don't know. So many shows are just, like, so bad. Like, I don't know. I knew a couple people that just, like, just ate up all that kind of shit, and I don't know. I don't want to get snobby, but I like, the anime I do prefer going back to is usually stuff like Evangelion or Cowboy Bebop, stuff like that. Stuff that, I don't know, I feel like just kind of do a better job with, like, story structure. I don't know. I'm not as really into Shonen Jump anime stuff as before, although I don't know. I don't mind it, I guess. The thing about Shonen Jump anime that really bothers me is that it just never ever ends. Really. Like I mentioned earlier that I was so Sakubo's thing is 50% increase of elemental hits and 75% increase of power done by offensive spells, which is incredible. So basically her magic almost doubles, and then since all magic is elemental anyway, that's 50% on top of that. And I'll bring Entrance and Yada in for this, but anyway, but like the Shonen Jump stuff, like I've been watching Dragon Ball Z lately again, and I've been enjoying that, and I know a large part of that is like the nostalgia from growing up with it too, but like, I don't know. I feel like Dragon Ball Z is, well, I don't know. I don't really want to go into how I feel about Dragon Ball Z at the moment. I'm enjoying it, reliving it right now. But I know that does go on for way longer than it needs to. And that's just kind of like the problem with Shonen Jump shows. They always just go on, like, way too long. I've always, like, preferred shows that, like, stuck with, like, the 1 or 2 season limits. Because I don't know. Like, I used to watch some One Piece when it was on Cartoon Network. Like, when was that? I think I was in high school when it was there. I was either in high school or early college when it was on Cartoon Network. But I never really, like, stuck around with it. So I'm, like, honestly, like, surprised and a little, like, annoyed that it's still going on, like, 10 years later. Because it's, like, I don't know, I remember just, like, going into, like, stores and, like, seeing the manga, and it's, like, volume 75, and I'm like, no story ever needs to go on for this long. I don't know, but I guess that's just me, like, thinking, like, anime, like, because one of the big things about anime for me growing up was, like, it was a cartoon, but, like, I had a cartoon with, like, a really good story to it. And, I mean, you know, because this coming from a teenager's perspective and all, so it's like the only other cartoons I was really familiar with was like, you know, stuff you see on like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, and they were like fine for what they were, but it's like, you know, I'm an edgy teenager, and you know, I want things that are deep, and I want to feel deep, and I want to, you know, be edgy and everything. So anime kind of like filled that role, and so I guess that's like the first thing I think about, because like I try to think of like longer Shonen Jump things as like, I don't know, because I know, like, all shows have, like, their arcs and everything like that, too. So I just kind of, like, try to view each arc as its own, like, season, if that makes sense. I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is, I guess it's a little presumptuous of me to assume that, like, all these, like, anime shows that go on for so long need to have, like, this great, amazing story to them. Like, I mean, sometimes they should just, like, if they just want to be, like, you know, what they are for the case of what they are, like Dragon Ball Z, it's an action show. If you just want a bunch of muscly dudes powering up and getting stronger and having fights with each other just for the sake of it, you know, that's fine. I mean, Dragon Ball Z is not, like, pretending it has, like, this really deep story or anything like that. And that's fine, you know, it is what it is. I'm not, like, above enjoying something like that. But then, like, some things I just kind of feel like they really want to, like, push the story, but but, like, in Shonen Jump cases, it just feels like it's going on for, like, way too long. Like, that was why I eventually, like, got tired of Naruto, because, like, I don't know, Naruto had some, like, good moments when I was watching it, but like it was a show that just like went on for so long. Like I stopped watching around like the time Sasuke's brother was introduced, and I just felt like each episode was just like repeating the same story information to me over and over and over again. So like, I don't know. I think Bleach was the last Shonen Jump kind of anime slash manga that I got into, and you know, I eventually stopped collecting after, you know, my interest in anime just went away. My one friend, though, he kept up with it, or at least what was happening with it. I don't know if he actually read, like, you know, all the way up to its ending or anything like that, but he kind of filled me in on some of the things that were happening, and from what I hear from both him and the internet, Bleach went downhill, like, super fast. Which is a shame, because I have a lot of good memories with Bleach. In fact, just to contradict what I've been saying about Shonen Jump shows and why I'm hesitant to get into them, I have been kind of wanting to rewatch Bleach on Netflix, just to kind of see how it holds up for me. I don't know. I'm just kind of babbling at this point, but I don't know. I guess that's kind of the point of these post-game videos, where nothing else but battles are going on. It's just so I can give some like general thoughts about GU and Dot Hack and I guess anime and stuff too. Like whatever pops into my head. I don't know. Maybe it like helps me kind of understand where I'm coming from with some of my frustrations for GU. Like GU, I mean, I remember reading someone saying in a forums recently that when someone was like criticizing GU and they wanted to know why they liked it, he was like, it's a shonen game, you know, it's stupid, whatever, but like we like all the tropes that go with it, and it's like, that's fair enough. I just personally don't happen to enjoy this particular entry with it. So what's Yada's oh, did Yada learn skills too? Increase an ally's physical and magical defense by 3. 3? Jeez, we have items that can do 30. But Yada's adds confusion to your normal attacks and attacks with the enemy's weakness type, so that's interesting. Did we do Entrance too? I think we did, and I think I just went right past it. Entrances adds charm to his attacks, basically. But, oh, we switched out for Pi. So I guess next time we'll be starting off with, like, Pi and Kun. We're doing most of these now, but, you know, yeah, whatever. Thank you for listening to this mess of an episode. I guess I should have tried to think of what I wanted to say before just trying to come off with it at the top of my head, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.